Hi team, Shane here for Robson & Robson Property. I'm here with Wayne Bennett from National Service Financial. Wayne's back from a three-week layoff due to a knee operation. How are you feeling, sir?
Mate, I'm pretty good. Great to be back. Yes, I've got a nice couple of chunks of metal in my right knee now, so
Yeah.
more machine than man apparently. So, mate, yeah, back into it, ready to go.
Good. Whilst you've been away, for you guys that have tuned in over the last few Facebook Lives that we've done, we're obviously touching a lot on coronavirus and its effects on the property market and the greater markets throughout the country and throughout the world. Whilst Wayne has been under a shroud of painkillers, a lot's changed. So we've had to do a bit of catching up on things. It all looks pretty positive. The numbers on corona are down. The curve has been well and truly flattened. We're coming out the other side, I believe. There could be a little bit of insecurity around a second wave, but I'm not counting on that happening. Wayne, what are your thoughts? What have you read? What have you seen?
Yeah, mate. So look, as this sort of thing has started and peaked really quite early, us as a nation, we've absolutely not just flattened the curve, we've just smashed it. It's as simple as that. The government acted so quickly and decisively with what they were going to do and put all these measures in quite early that it's actually put us in a really, really good position to the point now where you're seeing parts of the country, we're coming out of these restrictions, look, state by state and sort of market by market, but that's okay because what it's actually doing, it's instilling consumer confidence. The people are actually confident in what the government is doing.
Sure.
Well, the government's getting a little bit of backlash with the amount of money they're spending, but what they're doing, they're investing in our future and kind of like, bulletproofing us from the full effects of this global pandemic. So I think I was reading some numbers in the article we're talking about. Australia's spending 14.5% of GDP on fighting this thing. So we're in the top 3 of the world. Germany's number 1. I think it's Japan on 14.6, and then Australia's number 3. So look, we're handling it really quite well. Lots of stimulus, and in turn, still lots of activity. I'm finding, even through my business, they've been tipping property prices to drop since this thing started. But the fact was, before this thing kicked off, we had that market correction last year of around about 10 and 12%, depending where you were in the country. So it was starting to ramp up just as last year ended, and we've seen some really good activity and into the new year. So there was demand there, and the economy was actually in a really good spot, just as well, for us to handle this, COVID-19 pandemic that's actually happened to us. So overall, I think, the way government's invested in us and the way us as Australians have handled ourselves and conducted ourselves as a nation in fighting this thing, I think it's been a pride thing, to be honest. I think everyone's going, hey, how good are we? We're smashing it. But when you look overseas at the US and the UK, Italy and Spain, these countries are really, really struggling. And you look at our numbers and they're just ridiculously low. Of course, no death is ever acceptable, but compared to the rest of the world, we've just absolutely smashed it. And the rest of the nation's picking up on it.
Yeah, and you said it a second ago that consumer confidence is what's going to drive this thing back and stimulate the economy. I'm looking at a graph now. I'll get Beck to put it up overlaid on this video. And it shows that year-on-year change in searches for properties, so people actually getting on realestate.com, so on and so forth, these websites, was down 10% on the 1st of April. It's now 50% up as of the 1st of May.
Yep.
People searching properties online is 50% more than it was last year, 1st of May. And that's because last year, 1st of May was pre-election and a lot of other things as well. But it just shows that people are back out in the market looking at property.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, because government putting together things like JobKeeper payments are keeping people employed.
Yep.
So businesses can pick up on the other side of this thing. So what we're finding, we've had a surge of inquiries in the last fortnight. As per usual, as soon as I went in for surgery, the phone started ringing. Yeah. So we've had a really good surge in inquiries, and people are just asking for any sort of commentary on what are things going down. So it's essentially what we've been talking about this morning. Is just that sentiment's up there, the confidence is coming back, and people that can are starting to make steps to whether it's investing in property or getting a financial plan sorted, getting on top of the budget. Because look, it did scare the shit out of a lot of people. Because a lot of people, majority of the population, doesn't have that nice little buffer for emergencies. So look, none of us were planning for a global pandemic. let's get that straight. So, but, noting that this stuff can happen, however rare it is, people are asking, how do I get this surplus? How do I get a little bit of a nest egg to squirrel away just in case stuff like this happens? So there's plenty of inquiries about that and people are engaging for sure.
Awesome. Well, guys, we're going to be talking about all these things and much more next Thursday, 21st of May. We're going to kick off back into our Facebook Live events. So stay tuned. Wayno, anything else to add before we kick off?
No, mate. It's just good to be back. Enjoy your weekend, and hopefully the pubs start open in a couple of weeks, and maybe even catch up for a virtual beer or something.
Well, if the pub's open on Thursday, we're not going to be doing this Facebook Live. Let's put it that way. I'll be at the pub. No, only joking, kids. All right, cool. Thanks, Wayno. Signing off. See you next Thursday.
See you, mate. Bye.
Bye.